So once properly authenticated, once this remote client already has an access to this router, next in the level is the authorization. In the authorization, a session is to be established with the AEA server, and the router shall request authorization from the requested service coming from the remote client. Okay, and then the server will check if this specific username, okay, this specific remote client has the authority to do a specific task or to do that to the server, the AA server will check if the remote client is authorized to do the specific task, or if the remote client will be granted with the request. And for the accounting, all actions done by the remote client to the perimeter router is to be logged in the AAA server. So accounting information may include network information or information about the connection, about the configurations. Example, let's say the remote client has changed the date, that's in the exec mode. So it will be logged in the AA server. Or say, for example, let's say has upgraded a memory module in the router, or execute a command, okay, or display a certain resource information in the router. So all of this, all of the actions being done by the remote client to the perimeter router in the accounting part, in the accounting module of the AEA is recorded. And when you type show user, example, I am the admin, and if I type show user access the AEA server, I can be able to know, see all the logs, and in the logs, it will display all those actions performed by a specific user. So this is how we set up local AAA. Okay, we need to first set up username. Okay, and then a password. We can apply an encryption mechanism for the password by using the secret command. Okay, and then to enable AAA, we type in AAA new model and AAA authentication login default local access. This is to enable, this is to say that what the setup we want is a local AAA type of an authentication. Okay, once you're through with those setup that is to be done in the global configuration mode, to apply the AAA for example, in SSH, you go to line VTY04 and then you type this line login authentication SSH login. If you were to apply for console, then you go to line con0 and type this login authentication and then the login name. With the server-based authentication, okay, there are two protocols that we may use: a TACAX Plus or a Radius. Okay, in the packet tracer activity, it is shown there how to set up or connect to a TACAX Plus server or Radius server in a Cisco router. But we cannot simulate that in that activity. No, packet tracer do not have the capability. It doesn't have these kinds of servers, these kinds of solution in the packet tracer. Packet tracer doesn't have those servers that are listed here. I have here the difference of the TACAX Plus. Okay, if a server supports TACAX Plus or a Radius. Usually in TACAX Plus, there is a separate module for each of the authentication, authorization, and accounting. While in the Radius, the authentication and authorization part are combined, and then the accounting part is separated, which allows less flexibility as compared to a TACAX Plus. Most Cisco devices supports TACAX Plus. Although Cisco devices also supports Radius. Radius is open standard. The layer 4 protocol used by TACAX Plus is TCP, while Radius uses UDP. TACAX Plus uses CHAP. This is discussed in Cisco 4, right? It's an authentication under PPP, point-to-point protocol, challenge handshake, authentication protocol, a much secured means of authentication. Okay, it ensures encryption. That's one advantage of the CHAP. In Radius case, usually it uses a challenge and response type, a two-way type, okay, of an authentication. protocol support of TACACS Plus is multi, okay, but Radius is limited. Entire packet is encrypted in TACACS Plus, while in Radius only the passwords are the ones being encrypted. Okay, and then TACACS Plus, it provides authorization on the router commands on a per user or per group basis, while in Radius it doesn't have that option to authorize router commands. So accounting in TACACS Plus is limited, while in Radius is extensive.
This last lesson described the identification and authentication components of identity and access management systems. Should be able to distinguish identification and authentication processes and know the different factors that can be used as credentials for authentication. Should be able to describe the processes and strength weaknesses of password-based authentication protocols, and you should be able to compare and contrast the types of system used to provide biometric and token-based authentication.
Other parts of this modules is I have attached series of video uh, in the next slides of this PowerPoint video discussion. Uh, I hope you watch you other parts of the discussion. As first, this is in preparation of you taking the Security Plus certification exam. Another is, of course, for you to learn, and then another is uh, this is a coverage of the exam, like quiz 3 and the final exam. Okay, there. Um, so so far, this is again my effort to